Good evening. Welcome to the December 19th Clark County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners meeting. I'd like to call this evening's meeting to order and ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'd ask for any additions to this evening's agenda. None here.
Under new business, could you give us an update on the Port of Richfield is on sort of next street area, if you have any information, but I think the public needs to know that the Port of Richfield wants to do a tip up there, which could be definitely help us.
We need to read and approve, post as necessary, the minutes of our December 5th board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Correspondence this evening, I didn't see anything added to the packet. Okay. Citizen communication. Citizens viewing this evening's meeting on Zoom can communicate directly with the board using the chat feature that will be monitored throughout this evening's meeting. I didn't see any committee reports listed tonight. Consent agenda. Move approval. Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Chief's report.
So for November 2023 overtime summary report, the overtime was $95,007.17. The majority of that being in shift replacement. For the first meeting in January, I'll have a breakdown of what all of our overtimes costs were individually, so the board can get that information. For the November 2023 budget performance report, we should be at 91.6. Anticipated expenditures for fire were at 79%, and for EMS we're at 76.9%. And again, some of that accounts for that 35% carryover that we have to do. And then there is no facility reports.
I thought we were gonna start on the building.
They are starting on this building here.
Yeah, well,
They've been moving dirt and they're starting on the project, so it is in progress, yeah.
Have they updated their timeline for completion?
They have not updated the pipeline yet.
Moving on to new business. Continuing old business, bond transfer direction.
So at the last meeting, I told the board that we needed a transfer for $946,775. That number was incorrect by a few dollars. The actual total transfer is $949,300 from 6212 to 6213 debt services. So that would need a motion of the board to amend that amount from $946,775 to $949,300.
so from 6 to 12.
From 6212 to 6213 debt services.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Now we're on to new business.
The first thing in new business is audiovisual bids. This is an owner provided contractor installed item. So we went out for bids through the bid process for audiovisual equipment. Ohm System was the winner of that bid, and in your packet is the criteria that Chief Newberry used to evaluate that bid, and that was confirmed with our legal counsel. So Ohm System had a bid for all the audiovisual equipment within the Station 61 remodel for a total amount of $100,991.80. 80 cents, yeah. So if the board chooses, you could approve this tonight, we can move forward with that, or you could take 2 weeks to evaluate the bids and see where you're comfortable.
Sounds standard company.
Ohm Systems bid this station. We did not have the audio visual equipment installed in this station because we value engineered it. So that would get that facility, all the audio equipment that we need within it.
Yeah, I thought it was, we're almost the ones that did install it.
They did some of the installation, but they didn't do all the integrated stuff that we're bidding at 61.
And maybe the second paragraph in Chief Newberry's, can you just, what's he saying there? The 42,300 for telephone data, and then something about his best estimate of the AV project.
Yeah, so when we do a cost estimate with McKinsey, that goes to Rowan, cost estimators. They estimated 42,000 and change for the IT equipment within the building, but that did not include the audio visual. That was the, IT for internet, phones and that stuff.
Okay.
So, he just wanted to be clear that it wasn't underbid, but, that we anticipate that this is about 75,000 over what we had allotted in there total, but
Okay.
it will be used for IT too.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I know technology changes so readily. Is this like the current equipment that's out there on the market for this type of application, or is there any expected timeline for life of this type of equipment?
Yeah, well, like you said, technology changes rapidly. We did have discussions on, do we need to do all the classrooms upstairs as well as the conference room and everything at the same time? After evaluating it, we felt it was best to put the technology in all at once so that we were working on the same technology and the same platforms, rather than trying to integrate multiple sources into it. So that's some of the costs too, because that's 2 classrooms upstairs, a conference room, and the commissioner classroom.
Says she's not.
And also the
Well,
front lobby will have the TV screen that we currently had, but it'll be all programmed through the system.
as long as we feel it wasn't the least expensive, then it sounds like we have justification to go with that.
Yeah, I appreciate the depth in the packet here explaining the process and the various bids.
No, I'm comfortable with it.
I don't think we need to wait. If we do it now, I think they can probably put some in before.
Yeah,
That's correct.
yeah, I read that here too, as well as this will aid the installation.
So do you need a motion for the 100,991.80?
Correct,
I
yeah.
will make that motion.
So you would want a motion to award the bid to Ohm Systems for the amount of,
I make a motion to award the bid to Home Systems in the amount of $100,991.80.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Surplus.
so surplus, there's fuel tanks at 61 that we need to surplus. And if the board is willing to, I'd like to surplus those at the chief's discretion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye. They love.
Any, yeah, it's moving right along. Is there any, update to the Port of Richfield and their, potential tip area?
Yeah, so Chief Nora and myself met with Randy Mueller, who's the Port of Ridgefield head authority. They are gonna do a tax increment financing area that does include portions of District 6 along the 179th Street corridor. The way the tax increment financing works is they can do a certain percentage of the value of the port, and that comes up to 200 million. So what they did was take a collection of land between District 6 and Clark Callett's Fire and Rescue that added up to about 197 million, and decided to incorporate that into the tax increment financing. Essentially, any place in District 6 that has a Ridgefield address is able to be tax increment financed. But by doing this one portion that they're doing, they've reached their 200 million threshold and they can't tax increment finance any more area. The port can't. It doesn't mean other entities can't. So what that means is a portion of our tax dollars that we collect for fire levies and EMS levies will go directly to the port for development. The majority of that development is waterfront at the port and pedestrian bridges at the Port of Ridgefield. So essentially, District 6 residents will be paying for development in the waterfront of Ridgefield. Yeah. It's legal by the legislation and they're gonna move forward with it. The one area that Chief Nora and I were able to discuss and make some changes in is they had our levy rates decreasing all the way down to 0. So what they did was start our levy at $1.50, decreased it down to 0 and collected that difference. We advised them that we would never go below $1.20 on our levy. That's been our practice. Some years we may, some years we may not, but in general, we never go below $1.20. So they agreed that every time our levies hit $1.20, they would raise it back up to that $1.50 rate, decreasing the amount that they could skim off the top, for lack of a better term. Then with our EMS levy, they utilized ours at 45 cents, since historically District 6 has always gone for 45 cents, even though we could go for 50. I told them that we have the potential to go for 50, and so they'll figure our EMS levy at that 50-cent rate. So that helps us a little bit. They did provide a PowerPoint. They did provide the final draft with those changes, and that draft they will present in January. And so, at the board meeting, first meeting in January, we'd like to do a workshop on tax increment financing and how that will affect District 6. We've also started to incorporate our county counselors, because the county will pay a large portion of the tax increment financing as well. They get hit with it, as well as the libraries, parks, and transportation districts. So we're gonna be doing a public education campaign to those entities to let them know the effects that they will have. On top of that, it's the priority of the Washington Fire Chiefs and the State Council that will be our legislative topic in January of 2023, January 23rd, 2024, when we meet with our legislators. And most of that will be for how we mediate the effects of tax increment financing. Our first motion will be to eliminate fire service from tax increment financing, just as the schools have done. But if that doesn't work, then we'll go through a mediation type route.
They're required to mediate it now.
They are, but only once it affects over 20% of our, can't remember if it's our budget, over our budget.
What portion of 179th Street are they?
It's the Jollies area, so
The southeast corner, well,
yeah, and then all along the 179th Street corridor to the east, but most of that is in Clark First area. So it's about an 80%, 20% split between Clark First and District 6. We're getting hit with about 20% of it. They're getting hit with about 80% of it. And then they're also getting hit with tax increment financing from the city of Ridgefield. So they're getting multiple tax increment financing areas.
The port is coming all the way into Jollies.
Yep, because they can assess tax increment financing on anything with a Ridgefield address.
Okay.
Yep.
well, what point do you make the public aware that our taxpayers are gonna be helping finance port property in the city of Richmond? That seems fair. I mean, I feel like the CCFD6 folks have, they got some money from the city,
The land
it's
is
just a long ways away from downtown Richfield. Has nothing to do with the port.
Mhm.
They're never gonna do anything with that property except collect taxes. I think maybe we need to get an investigative reporter to start reporting on it. I don't care if we upset the port of Richfield, that doesn't bother me at all. I know they have to be careful with the city of Richfield, I understand that, but I don't think we need to be, I think we might wanna play hardball, I don't care. I'm not happy about that, so.
Well, I did ask Mr. Mueller how I justify to our citizens that they're paying for development in the city of Ridgefield. And his answer is it's legal and they can. So they're
Okay.
going to do it. That would be a board decision for how much of a public information campaign you want us to do, but we can do a public information campaign, and staff is prepared to put that together.
the reflector balance where.
Clark County, they'll do, for sure, right, so. I just think at least we need to inform our citizens that some of the future developments, they're gonna be paying to District 6, but the Port of Richmond is gonna be taking some tax money away from us, and legislative, they're gonna do it before the legislature has a chance to change the law.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing it, and I don't think they care about the District 6 citizens. I do, I don't care about the port. And I know I feel pretty strongly about it, guys, I'm sorry, but I think that we should at least send some sort of a press release out to the reflector of Clark County today, maybe the Columbia, and see if it's up.
Just for the board to consider, we do have the potential for a fire levy lid lift as well, so we want to make sure that that messaging is not confusing, however we put that out.
Would you say that this area encompasses residences within District 6 that have a Richfield address. So that's a fairly large part of the north aspect.
Well, it's good development still.
so it's mostly commercial, but there are,
Anything that's currently built, they can't.
Okay.
but there are apartment buildings, multifamily dwellings, those kind of things that are going in there
Okay,
too,
so
so.
it doesn't impact existing residences that have a Richfield address. But
No, it only affects who's in that area that they're doing the tip on, which is the new development. However, any amount of money that they take out of new development increases our call volume, which negatively impacts our citizens, because now we have an increased call volume with less money to respond.
And they're specifically targeting that area because of all the planning and the growth that
Because
is,
of the money.
because the money is coming in for that, it's free money.
Yeah, commercial.
So, if the board chooses, we could either do a workshop format or just report out with the PowerPoint and information from the court. The financing finality at the first meeting in January.
We're talking to the workshop related to.
Yeah.
I would go for the workshop, on the information related to the tips, so we can be educated as we can.
I would like to see the numbers of what we're talking
Okay.
about. I'm fine with the workshop format.
So then you would just need to decide if you want it to start at 6 and then regular meeting to follow, or if you want it to start earlier and your meeting start at 6.
I'm retired.
I'm zooming in on that. I'm on shift that day.
I'm comfortable with it starting at 6. You,
Yes.
6 with the meeting follow.
And then we would need a motion.
Yeah, motion to start the workshop at 6, immediately followed by our regular meeting.
Correct. Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make people aware
Yeah.
that they're being sneaky Pete, as far as I'm concerned. But I reported that.
Are there any upcoming, Port of Richfield meetings that, we can be aware of, or they're meeting to discuss on this? Yeah, we haven't really been, aware of them.
Yeah, so we did ask Mueller that as well. They're listed on their website. They're not really advertised, so I will get you those dates of their meetings coming up. And this is their major topic right now. We're also Chief Nor and I are also gonna ask the county council to discuss this as well.
Where do they meet at?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing the port building in downtown Ridgefield, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I just interesting move on there, but.
It's a land tap money ground, so it is.
All righty, thank you for the updates. I didn't see any, reason for an executive session this evening listed. Roundtable good of the order.
Just wanted to report out that Santa's Posse happened this weekend. It was a great success. We had the board as well as many firefighters and chief officers delivering gifts and cadets, so we had a great time on Santa's Posse and I think reached a lot of families. The other thing that happened this weekend is we had somebody reach out to the fire department that has about 5 children and needed assistance this year. So the Firefighter Assistance Fund joined forces with Local 452 and provided cash, groceries, and toys to that family.
Very, very good. Anything else? Any questions this evening?
I see no questions.
Well, with that, we'll need to authorize December issuance of payroll warrants, Clark County Treasurer, authorize December payroll direct deposit treasurer's check, authorize December deposit of federal and FICA medical withholding treasurer's check, authorize pre-authorization invoice transmittal, and authorize payment of current bills. So moved. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.